The prostitute. The one who trades what should never be sold. Every compromise has a price, and every price takes a piece of your soul. Before you judge her, look at yourself. Every time you chose safety over truth, comfort over integrity, belonging over authenticity, the prostitute was there. She lives in the moment you trade what you believe for what you need.
Carl Jung wrote, "Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." The prostitute archetype reveals what you truly value by showing what you are willing to trade.
Judas Iscariot. The most famous transaction in human history. 30 pieces of silver for the life of a friend. But was it really about the money? Or was it about a moment of such profound spiritual collapse that betrayal became the only language left? 30 shekels. That was the legal price of a slave in Exodus. Judas didn't just betray a friend, he valued him as property. This is the prostitute's deepest wound, reducing the sacred to a commodity. Faust. The scholar who traded his eternal soul for knowledge and pleasure. Not for survival, not for necessity, but for wanting more than his human limits allowed. This is the prostitute's seduction, the promise that you can have it all, if you just sign away one small thing. Mephistopheles never forced Faust. The contract was voluntary. That is the prostitute's genius. She makes you believe the trade is your idea. She makes the exchange feel like freedom when it is actually a cage being built around you, one bar at a time. The Old Testament prophets raged against idol worship not because the idols were powerful, but because the people traded their covenant with the infinite for a bargain with the finite. Worshipping golden calves for immediate harvest. Selling eternal truth for seasonal rain. Every idol is a transaction. You give your devotion, it gives you something back: security, certainty, predictability. The prostitute archetype operates every time you choose a guaranteed lesser good over an uncertain greater one. The samurai who survives by abandoning Bushido. The code that gave his life meaning, traded for another breath. Is survival without honor still life? Or has the prostitute transformed a warrior into something that merely breathes? The Japanese have a concept called Makoto, sincerity of purpose. When the samurai abandons Makoto for survival, he becomes a ghost who walks alive on the outside, dead on the inside. This is what the prostitute does, she keeps you breathing while she kills what makes you alive. The moment of compromise always feels like wisdom. You tell yourself you are being practical, realistic, mature. But something inside you goes quiet. A voice that once said never now whispers just this once. That whisper is the prostitute entering your life. No one sells everything at once. The first trade is always small. A tiny lie. A minor shortcut. A moment of looking away. But each small trade weakens the muscle of integrity, until the day comes when you cannot remember what it felt like to stand firm.
Caroline Myss wrote, "The prostitute archetype monitors your boundaries of self-preservation. She appears when you are about to compromise your integrity, warning you that the price you are about to pay is higher than you think."
Integrity doesn't collapse in a single moment. It erodes. Like stone worn by water, each compromise smooths away a rough edge of principle until nothing stands firm anymore. You don't notice the erosion because each loss seems so small. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of stew. Not for wealth, not for power, for a single meal. The prostitute works through desperation. When you are hungry enough, exhausted enough, afraid enough, any price seems reasonable for relief. Desperation is the prostitute's marketplace. She doesn't appear when you are strong and clear. She appears when you are broken, tired, and willing to trade anything for just a moment of peace. That is why poverty, spiritual or material, is her hunting ground. Every day, you attend a silent auction where pieces of yourself are for sale. Who will you be today? What will you surrender? The prostitute doesn't announce her presence. She simply places the bid and waits to see if you'll match it.
Rumi wrote, "Don't sell yourself short. You are a universe in human form." The prostitute archetype makes you forget the universe inside you and convinces you that you are merely a product with a market price.
Every betrayal has its currency. For Judas, it was silver. For Faust, it was knowledge. For Esau, it was food. For the samurai, it was survival. The currency changes, but the transaction is always the same, something sacred for something needed. The payment always weighs more than you expected. At the moment of trade, the price seems fair. Later, you discover the hidden costs: the sleep that doesn't come, the respect that evaporates, the self that becomes a stranger. Every transaction with the prostitute carries compound interest paid in regret. The shadow merchant has no face because it is yours. It is the part of you that calculates, negotiates, and rationalizes. It keeps ledgers of every compromise and assures you the math always works out. But the books are cooked. They have been from the start. The counterfeit self is the prostitute's masterpiece. She helps you construct a version of yourself that the world rewards: agreeable, compliant, productive, while the authentic self slowly starves in the basement of your psyche. The ancient stories are not history. They are mirrors. Every time you read of Judas or Faust, you are reading your own autobiography. The question is not whether you will face the prostitute you already have. The question is whether you will recognize her when she comes again. She stays in the marriage that died years ago. Not for love, for security. The mortgage. The health insurance. The fear of starting over. Every night she lies beside a stranger and tells herself this is what maturity looks like. The prostitute nods approvingly. What began as a covenant of love becomes a contract of convenience. The ring that symbolized devotion now symbolizes a binding agreement. The prostitute archetype doesn't just operate in dark alleys. She works at kitchen tables, in bedrooms, in the silence between two people who no longer see each other. The artist who once painted visions now paints what sells. The gallery owner said brighter colors, happier themes, smaller canvases for apartment walls. And slowly, the fire in the studio died. Not in a blaze, in a whimper. The prostitute whispered, "You can paint what you want later. First, survive." Art dies when the market becomes the muse. Every compromised brushstroke is a small funeral for a vision that will never exist. The tragedy is not that the artist sells paintings, it is that the artist begins to believe the sold paintings are the real art, and the private visions are merely self-indulgence. He knows what the company does. He knows the environmental reports are falsified, the safety data is manipulated, the customers are being misled. But he has a mortgage. Children in school. A retirement plan. So he types another email he doesn't believe and silences the voice that once said never. The salary is the price of your silence. This is the corporate prostitute's most elegant transaction. You trade your voice for your income, and you call it responsibility. The system doesn't need to threaten you, it just needs to pay you enough that losing the income becomes unthinkable. The friend who shares your deepest secret at a dinner party because it gains her a moment of social currency. The laughter at your expense. The phrase, "I probably shouldn't say this, but," these are the prostitute's small transactions. Social belonging purchased with someone else's trust. Status is the currency of the social prostitute. Every networking event, every strategic friendship, every relationship maintained not for love but for leverage, these are transactions. The prostitute archetype thrives wherever people are valued for what they provide rather than who they are. The midlife crisis is the prostitute's audit. One day you look at the life you've built, the house, the title, the pension, and realize you've been paying for it with pieces you didn't know you could lose. The reckoning comes not as failure but as an unbearable lightness of being nothing you recognize. Comfort is the most expensive thing you will ever buy. You pay for it with growth, with challenge, with the version of yourself that only exists on the other side of difficulty. The prostitute sells comfort like a drug. The first dose is free, and then you can't imagine living without it.
Nietzsche wrote, "The most common lie is the lie one tells to oneself." The prostitute's most faithful client is not the one who sells others, it is the one who sells himself and calls the transaction by another name.
The parent who sacrifices every dream for the children and then resents them for it. This is the prostitute's cruelest transaction. You trade your life for their well-being, then charge them the emotional debt for the rest of yours. Love becomes a ledger, and everyone goes bankrupt. Resentment is the interest on unpaid authenticity. Every time you swallow your truth, every time you agree when you want to scream, the unpaid balance accrues. And one day it explodes, not at the person who deserved it, but at someone who simply triggered the debt. Every yes that should be no is a transaction. Every smile that masks rage, every agreement that betrays conviction, every I'm fine that means I'm dying inside, these are the prostitute's daily trades. Small, invisible, and absolutely devastating. Imposter syndrome is not just self-doubt, it is the prostitute's receipt. You traded authenticity for acceptance, and now you can't shake the feeling that you are a fraud. Because in one specific way, you are. Not in your abilities, but in your willingness to be who you really are. The prostitute keeps a ledger. Not in ink in your body. The tension in your shoulders. The clench in your jaw. The insomnia at 3 a.m. These are not symptoms of stress. They are entries in a book you've been writing your whole life, and the ink is your own suppressed truth. The healing begins when the trading stops. In the therapist's office, the prostitute has no currency. You cannot bargain with the truth. You cannot negotiate with what you actually feel. This is why therapy feels terrifying, not because of what you might discover, but because there is nothing left to sell.
Anais Nin wrote, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." This is the moment the prostitute loses her power, when the pain of compromise exceeds the pain of authenticity.
The moment of refusal is the most terrifying and the most liberating moment of your life. It is the instant when you stop selling and start being. The prostitute screams that you are making a mistake. But for the first time, the voice that says no is louder than the voice that says take the deal. Authenticity costs everything. Your comfort, your approval, your belonging. But inauthenticity costs more. Yourself, your meaning, your reason for being alive. The prostitute offers you a choice between two prices. Choose carefully, because only one is worth paying. You cannot unsell what was sold. The years of compromise are spent. But you can stop selling. Right now. Today. The prostitute only has power over the next transaction. The previous ones are written in ink, but the next page is blank. What will you write on it? The mask is heavy. The face is free. When you finally stop performing the version of yourself that the world rewards, you discover the version the world actually needs. Not your compliance your truth. Not your agreement your conviction. Not your sale your gift. The only contract worth signing is with yourself. Not a deal that trades pieces for safety, but a covenant that promises wholeness at any cost. The prostitute will return, she always does, but next time, you will recognize her. And you will have a different answer. The personal is now digital. The marketplace is now everywhere. You thought the prostitute lived in ancient temples and boardrooms. But she has built a new empire, one where every click, every like, every share is a transaction. Welcome to the technological shadow. Welcome to the data marketplace. Your location history, $3. Your shopping habits, $5. Your relationship status, $2. Your deepest fears inferred from search patterns, priceless. You gave it all away, not stolen, not taken, handed over in exchange for convenience. You didn't read the terms. Nobody does. That is the design. The prostitute has learned from Silicon Valley: make the transaction invisible, make the price abstract, and make refusal impossible. Every accept all button is Judas receiving his 30 coins. The difference is, you click yours willingly. The influencer who began with genuine passion now performs authenticity for engagement metrics. Each post is calibrated. Each vulnerability is strategic. The prostitute has found her perfect home in the attention economy, where the self is the product and every genuine moment is immediately packaged for sale. Attention is the new silver. Your soul is the new product. The prostitute no longer stands on street corners, she lives in your pocket, on your wrist, in your feed. She doesn't sell your body. She sells your gaze, your desire, your fear. And you pay her with the only currency that matters, your time. The gig worker who trades benefits for flexibility, security for freedom, and discovers the freedom was never theirs. The platform sets the price, the algorithm sets the hours, the rating system sets the behavior. You are not an entrepreneur. You are a contractor who sold the right to call yourself an employee. The algorithm is the new pimp. It doesn't coerce, it optimizes. It learns what you need and provides just enough to keep you performing. Surge pricing when you're desperate. Content recommendations when you're lonely. The prostitute has gone digital, and her efficiency is terrifying. Freedom for safety. Privacy for security. Dignity for convenience. These are the prostitute's modern transactions, conducted at a civilizational scale. You trade the right to be unseen for the promise of being protected by the very system that watches you. The panopticon is not a prison. It is a service. You subscribed voluntarily. You carry the monitoring device in your pocket. You wear the tracker on your wrist. You install the app that knows where you sleep, what you eat, who you love. And you call it convenience. The prostitute applauds your branding. The content creator who began with truth and now optimizes for clicks. The headline that could have been honest is stretched into outrage. The nuance that could have illuminated is sacrificed for engagement. The prostitute doesn't take your voice, she just changes what you say with it. In the attention economy, truth has a market value. And that value is determined not by accuracy but by engagement. The prostitute has always known this: people don't pay for truth. They pay for what they want to hear. The digital age just made the market bigger, faster, and more ruthless.
Shoshana Zuboff wrote, "Surveillance capitalism unilaterally claims human experience as free raw material. The prostitute archetype has been digitized, corporatized, and scaled to billions. Your experience is the product. Your compromise is the business model."
Every sign-up is a miniature Faustian bargain. You give your data, they give you a service. You give your attention, they give you entertainment. You give your autonomy, they give you convenience. The terms are always the same, something real for something easy. Faust would recognize the deal immediately. Resistance begins with a single question: what am I trading? Not in the marketplace, but in this moment. Am I clicking because I choose to, or because I was designed to? Am I agreeing because I believe it, or because disagreement costs too much? The prostitute cannot survive this question. The most powerful word in any transaction is no, not negotiated, not softened, not qualified, just no. The prostitute fears this word more than any other, because it is the one transaction she cannot complete. It is the price she cannot match. The sovereign self is the one who knows the price of everything and the value of anything. It is the self that can enter any marketplace and leave without buying or selling. The prostitute becomes not an enemy but a teacher. She shows you what you are willing to trade, and in doing so, reveals what is truly priceless.
James Baldwin wrote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." The prostitute archetype must be faced, not defeated. Faced. Because she is not your enemy. She is your boundary keeper, your price checker, your most honest mirror.
The prostitute is not your destruction. She is your warning system. She appears at the moment of compromise to ask, "Are you sure? Do you know the price? Is this what you truly want?" When you hear her question and still choose consciously, the transaction becomes a choice instead of a compulsion. The sacred refusal is the most valuable transaction you will ever make. It is the moment you choose nothing over something, emptiness over compromise, the unknown over the guaranteed. It is the prostitute's final lesson: some things are not for sale, including you. What is priceless? Your word when it is honest. Your love when it is free. Your work when it is true. Your silence when it is chosen. These cannot be bought because they only exist when given. The prostitute knows this. It is the one truth she can never sell. What will you refuse to sell? Not what will you buy. That is the easier question. What will you refuse to sell, even when the price is everything you have? Your integrity? Your voice? Your love? Your truth? The answer to this question is the only fortune that matters. You are not a commodity. You are a cosmos. You are not a transaction. You are a transformation. The prostitute appeared to teach you the difference between what can be sold and what must be kept sacred. Honor her lesson. Refuse her deal. And walk into the light that no coin can buy. The prostitute. She who guards the boundary between what you trade and what you are. Meet her with awareness. Answer her with sovereignty. And never sell what cannot be replaced.